Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. We've come to number 8 out of 8. This Dhamma is for one who enjoys or delights in Nippapancha, not for one who delights in Papancha. And just to read the root sutta explanation of this is in Anguttara Nikaya 830. And I'll be using Ajahn Geoff's Non-Objectification here. This Dhamma is for one who enjoys non-objectification, who delights in non-objectification, not for one who enjoys and delights in objectification. Thus it was said. With reference to what was it said? There is the case where a monk's mind leaps up, grows confident, steadfast, and firm in the cessation of objectification. This Dhamma is for one who enjoys non-objectification, who delights in non-objectification, not for one who enjoys and delights in objectification. Thus it was said, and with reference to this was it said. Okay, so I'm going to continue exploring this topic, reading some of the suttas that Ajahn Karunadhammo mentioned but didn't actually read. And the general pattern here will be from the abstract to the practical. So let's start out from more abstraction. Anguttara Nikaya 4.173 to Kotthita. Then Venerable Maha Kotthita went to Venerable Sariputta, and on arrival exchanged courteous greetings with him. After an exchange of friendly greetings and courtesies, he sat to one side. As he was sitting there, he said to Venerable Sariputta, "With the remainderless fading and cessation of the 6 contact media, in other words, vision, hearing, smell, taste, touch, and the intellect, is it the case that there is anything else?" And Venerable Sariputta replies, "Don't say that, my friend." Venerable Maha Kotthita, "With the remainderless fading and cessation of the 6 contact media, is it the case that there is not anything else?" "Don't say that, friend." "With the remainderless fading and cessation of the 6 contact media, is it the case that there both is and is not anything else?" "Don't say that, my friend." "With the remainderless fading and cessation of the 6 contact media, is it the case that there neither is nor is not anything else?" "Don't say that, my friend." Then Venerable Maha Kotthita continues, "Being asked if with the remainderless fading and cessation of the 6 contact media there is anything else, you say, 'Don't say that, my friend.' Being asked if there is not anything else, if there both is and is not anything else, or if there is neither is nor is not anything else, you say, 'Don't say that, my friend.' Now how is the meaning of your words to be understood?" Venerable Sariputta, "The statement, 'With the remainderless fading and cessation of the 6 contact media, it is the case that there is anything else,' objectifies the non-objectified. The statement, 'With the remainderless fading and cessation of the 6 contact media, is it the case that there is not anything else?' objectifies the non-objectified, and similarly with the other 2 cases. However far the 6 contact media go, that is how far objectification goes. However far objectification goes, that is how far the 6 contact media go. With the remainderless fading and cessation of the 6 contact media, there comes to be the cessation of objectification, the stilling of objectification." And then Ajahn Geoff's note, "Objectification is a translation of Papancha. Although in some circles Papancha has come to mean a proliferation of thinking, in the canon it refers not to the amount of thinking, but to a type of thinking, marked by the classifications and perceptions it uses. As Sutta Nipata 4.14 points out, the root of classifications and perceptions of objectification is the thought, quote, I am the thinker. This thought forms the motivation for the questions that Venerable Kotthita is presenting here. The sense of I am the thinker can cause either fear or desire for annihilation in the course of unbinding. Both concerns get in the way of the abandoning of clinging, which is essential for the attainment of unbinding, which is why the question should not be asked. And then Digha Nikaya 21 and Majjhima Nikaya 18, which Ajahn Karunadhammo read, discuss the relationship between objectification and conflict. And then Samyutta Nikaya 43 lists non-objectification as one of the many epithets for unbinding, nibbana. And so let's going to go to that Sutta Nikaya. It's Samyutta Nikaya 43 now. And so this is the Samyutta Nikaya number 43 is the connected discourses on the unfabricated. And it's a series of templates in which any of 33 different terms for the goal of the practice is given the same kind of expansion. It begins with the unfabricated Asankatha, which is why the Samyutta gets its name. But Nipapancha, non-objectification, Non-Proliferation, etc., is one of the synonyms for nibbana, and so nibbana is also in the list. And so I'll read the discourse here using non-objectification. Monks, I will teach you the non-objectified and the path leading to the non-objectified, to non-objectification. Listen and pay close attention. I will speak. As you say, Lord, the monks responded to the Blessed One. The Blessed One said, which, monks, is the non-objectified? Whatever is the ending of passion, the ending of aversion, the ending of delusion, this is called non-objectification. And which is the path leading to non-objectification? Mindfulness immersed in the body. This is called the path leading to non-objectification. Thus, monks, I have taught you non-objectification and the path leading to non-objectification. Whatever a sympathetic teacher should do, seeking the welfare of his disciples, out of sympathy for them, that I have done for you. Over there are the roots of trees, over there empty dwellings. Practice jhana, monks. Don't be heedless. Don't later fall into remorse. This is our message to you all. And then continuing the expansion. And which is the path leading to non-objectification? Tranquility and insight. And which is the path leading to non-objectification? Concentration with directed thought and evaluation. Concentration without directed thought and with a modokam of evaluation. Concentration without directed thought and without evaluation. And which is the path leading to non-objectification? Emptiness concentration, themeless concentration, undirected concentration. And which is the path leading to non-objectification? The four establishments of mindfulness, the four right exertions, the four bases of power, the five faculties, the five strengths, the seven factors of awakening. And which is the path leading to non-objectification? The Noble Eightfold Path. This is called the path leading to non-objectification. Thus, monks, I have taught you non-objectification and the path leading to non-objectification. Whatever a sympathetic teacher should do, seeking the welfare of his disciples, out of sympathy for them, that I have done for you. Over there are the roots of trees, over there empty dwellings. Practice jhana, monks. Don't be heedless. Don't later fall into remorse. This is our message to you all. Now moving to Samyutta Nikaya 414, which Ajahn Geoff mentioned in his note. And this one's called Quickly. I asked the kinsman of the sun, the great seer, about seclusion and the state of peace. Seeing in what way is a monk unbound, clinging to nothing in the world? He should put an entire stop to the root of objectification classifications. Quote, I am the thinker. He should train, always mindful, to subdue any craving inside him. Whatever truth he may know, within or without, He shouldn't, because of it, make himself hardened, for that isn't called unbinding by the good. He shouldn't, because of it, think himself better, lower, or equal. Touched by contact in various ways, he shouldn't keep theorizing about self. Stilled right within, a monk shouldn't seek peace from another, from anything else. For one stilled right within, there's nothing embraced, so how rejected? As in the middle of the sea, as in the middle of the sea it is still, with no waves upwelling, so the monk, unperturbed, still, should not swell himself anywhere. And then the questioner continues, he whose eyes are open has described the Dhamma he's witnessed, subduing danger. Now tell us, sir, the practice, the patimokkha and concentration. One shouldn't be careless with his eyes, should close his ears to village talk, shouldn't hunger for flavors, or view anything in the world as mine. When touched by contact, he shouldn't lament, shouldn't covet anywhere any states of becoming, or tremble at terrors. When gaining food and drink, staples and cloth, he should not make a hoard, nor should he be upset when receiving no gains. Doing jhana, not footloose, he should refrain from restlessness, shouldn't be heedless, should live in a noiseless abode, not making much of sleep, ardent, given to wakefulness, he should abandon weariness, deception, laughter, sports, sexual intercourse, and all that goes with it. He should not practice casting spells, interpret dreams, physical marks, the stars, animal cries, should not be devoted to doing cures or inducing fertility. A monk shouldn't tremble at blame or grow haughty with praise, should dispel stinginess, greed, divisive speech, anger, shouldn't buy or sell or revile anyone anywhere, shouldn't linger in villages or flatter people in hopes of gain. A monk shouldn't boast or speak with ulterior motive, shouldn't train in insolence or speak quarrelsome words, shouldn't engage in lies or knowingly cheat, shouldn't despise others for their life, discernment, habits, or practices. Annoyed on hearing many words from contemplatives or ordinary people, he shouldn't respond harshly, for those who retaliate aren't calm. Knowing this teaching, a monk inquiring should always train in it mindfully. Knowing unbinding as peace, he shouldn't be heedless of Gautama's message, for he, the conqueror unconquered, witnessed the Dhamma not by hearsay, but directly himself. So heedful, you should always do homage and train in line with that Blessed One's message. Yes?
Did you say that was from Samyutta Nikaya?
Sorry, Sutta Nipata.
Sutta Nipata.
Yeah, sorry. Sutta Nipata 4:14. Yeah, it's not there. And then I thought I would. There's an essay of Ajahn Geoff's that is very short and I find quite pithy, called Purity of Heart. And as I was reflecting on this topic, I realized that purity of heart is, in a way, it could be a poetic translation of Nippapancha. And it has pretty strong resonance in the Western tradition. During my first few weeks with my teacher, Ajahn Fong, I began to realize, this is Ajahn Geoff speaking, I began to realize that he had psychic powers. He never made a show of them, but I gradually sensed that he could read my mind and anticipate future events. I became intrigued. What else did he know? How did he know it? He must have detected where my thoughts were going, for one evening he gently headed me off. You know, he said, the whole aim of our practice is purity of heart. Everything else is just games. That one phrase, purity of heart, more than intrigued me. It reverberated deep down inside. Although I was extremely disillusioned with Christianity, I still valued Kierkegaard's dictum. Purity of heart is to will one thing. I didn't agree with Kierkegaard as to what that one thing was, but I did agree that purity of heart is the most important treasure of life. And here Ajahn Feng was offering to teach me how to develop it. That's one of the reasons why I stayed with him until he died. His basic definition of purity of heart was simple enough: a happiness that will never harm anyone. But a happiness like that is hard to find, for ordinary happiness requires that we eat. As the first of the novice's questions says, what is one? All beings subsist on food. This is how the Buddha introduced the topic of causality to young people. The primary causal relationship isn't something gentle, like light reflecting off mirrors or jewels illuminating jewels. It's feeding. Our bodies need physical food for their well-being. Our minds need the food of pleasant sensory contacts, intentions, and consciousness itself in order to function. If you ever want proof that interconnectedness isn't always something to celebrate, just contemplate how the beings of the world feed on one another, physically and emotionally. Interbeing is intereating. As Ajahn Suwat, my second teacher, once said, if there were a God who could arrange that by my eating I could make everyone in the world full, I'd bow down to that God. But that's not how eating works. Ordinarily, even well-intentioned people may not see eating as harmful. We're so compelled to eat that we blind ourselves to its larger impact. Our first pleasure, after the terror of being born, was getting to feed. We did it with our eyes closed, and most people keep their eyes closed to the impact of their feeding throughout life. But when you go to a quiet, secluded place and start examining your life, you begin to see what an enormous issue it is just to keep the body and mind well fed. On the one hand, you see the suffering you create for others simply in your need to feed. On the other, you see something even more dismaying: the emotions that arise within you when you don't feel that your body and mind are getting enough to eat. You realize that as long as your source of physical or mental food is unreliable, you're unreliable too. You see why even good people can reach a point where they're capable of murder, deceit, adultery, or theft. Being born with a body means that we're born with a huge bundle of needs that compels and can overwhelm our minds. Fortunately, we human beings have the potential to civilize our eating habits by learning to wean ourselves from our passion for the junk food of sights, sounds, smells, etc., and look instead for good food within. When we learn how to appreciate the joy that comes from generosity, honor, compassion, and trust, we see that it's much more fulfilling than the pleasure that comes simply from grabbing what we can for ourselves. We realize that our happiness can't be independent of the happiness of others. We can give one another our belongings, our time, our love, ourselves, and see it not as a loss, but as a mutual gain. Unfortunately, these qualities of the heart are conditional, for they depend on a tender web of beliefs and feelings: belief in justice and the basic goodness of human nature, feelings of trust and affection. When that web breaks, as it so easily can, the heart can turn vicious. We see this in divorce, broken families, and society at large. When the security of our food source, the basis of our mental and material well-being, gets threatened, the finer qualities of the mind can vanish. People who believe in kindness can suddenly seek revenge. Those who espouse nonviolence can suddenly call for war. And those who rule by divisiveness, by making a mockery of compassion, prudence, and our common humanity, find a willing following for their law of the jungle agenda. This is why compassion based only on belief or feeling is not enough to guarantee our behavior, and why the practice of training the mind to reach an unconditioned happiness is not a selfish thing. If you value compassion and trust, it's an imperative, for only an unconditioned happiness can guarantee the purity of your behavior. Independent of space and time, it's beyond alteration. No one can threaten its food source, for it has no need to feed. When you've had even just a glimpse of this happiness, your belief in goodness becomes unshakable. That way, other people can totally trust you, and you can genuinely trust yourself. You lack for nothing. Purity of heart is to know this one thing. See, I can read one one more sutta, if there's nothing coming up. This is the, this I think is on one of the other suttas on, classic suttas on Nibbana, to Rohitassa. And I'll abbreviate this a little in case, so give people time to ask more questions if they want. I think many people know the story, that the Deva Rohitassa appears to the Buddha late at night and asks, and as he was standing there, he said to the Blessed One, "Is it possible, Lord, by traveling to know or see or reach a far end of the cosmos where one doesn't take birth, age, die, pass away, or reappear?" "I tell you, friend, that it isn't possible by traveling to know or see or reach a far end of the cosmos where one doesn't take birth, age, die, pass away, or reappear." And then Rohitassa says, "It's astounding, Lord, it's amazing, Lord, and astounding how well that is said by the Blessed One." He describes how he was once a skywalker and walked a very long way but couldn't get to the end of the world. "So it's amazing, Lord, and astonishing how well that has been said by the Blessed One. I tell you, friend, that it isn't possible by traveling to know or see or reach a far end of the cosmos where one doesn't take birth, age, die, pass away, or reappear." And then the Blessed One responds, "I tell you, friend, that it isn't possible by traveling to know or see or reach a far end of the cosmos where one doesn't take birth, age, die, pass away, or reappear. But at the same time, I tell you that there is no making an end of suffering and stress without reaching the end of the cosmos. Yet it is just within this fathom-long body, with its perception and intellect, that I declare there is the cosmos, the origination of the cosmos, the cessation of the cosmos, and the path of practice leading to the cessation of the cosmos." And then verses. "It's not to be reached by traveling the end of the cosmos regardless, and it's not without reaching the end of the cosmos that there is release from suffering and stress. So truly an expert with regard to the cosmos, intelligent, a knower of the end of the cosmos, having fulfilled the holy life, knowing the cosmos's end, concentrated, doesn't long for this cosmos or any other." And then apparently this was a common, the Buddha talked about this more than once in another discourse in the Samyutta Nikaya 35.116. Monks, I don't say that one would know, see, or reach the end of the cosmos by traveling, but I also don't say that there is a putting an end to stress without reaching the end of the cosmos. Having said this, the Blessed One got up from his seat and went into his dwelling. And then there's the monks. Who could actually explain this? And this time they settle on Ananda. And so after the usual scolding about not asking the Blessed One right away, Venerable Ananda explains, "Friends, concerning the brief statement the Blessed One made, after which he went into his dwelling without analyzing the detailed meaning, in other words, monks, I don't say that one would know, see, or reach the end of the cosmos by traveling, but I also don't say that there is a putting an end to stress without reaching the end of the cosmos. I understand the detailed meaning to be this: that by which, with regard to the cosmos, one is a perceiver of the cosmos, a conceiver of the cosmos, that in the discipline of the noble ones is called the cosmos. And by means of what, with regard to the cosmos, is one a perceiver of the cosmos, a conceiver of the cosmos? By means of the eye, one is with regard to the cosmos a perceiver of the cosmos, a conceiver of the cosmos. By means of the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, the intellect, one is with regard to the cosmos a perceiver of the cosmos, a conceiver of the cosmos. That by means of which, with regard to the cosmos, one is a perceiver of the cosmos, a conceiver of the cosmos, that in the discipline of the noble one is called the cosmos." And so that brings us back to the cessation of the six sense media, which is what Kotthita and Sariputta were discussing. Okay, you have a question?
Those passages made me think of a sort of modern attempt at restating that by George Harrison in his song Into the Light. He says, without going out of your door, you can know all things are mirth. Without looking out of your window, you can know the ways of heaven. The farther one travels, the less one knows.
I was reminded of the Ajahn Sumedho phrase, if it moves, don't trust it.